Well, the time has come after 35 years in the lineup. Subaru is discontinuing the Legacy. It goes out with a whimper instead of a bang. So, guys, it is official. After 35 years in the lineup, the news has come down the pipeline from Subaru HQ, and that is that the Legacy is getting the axe. Head on the chopping block. This is it. 2025 is a wrap for Legacy. Now, why has Subaru decided to kill off the Legacy? And it just comes down to a shift in buyers, what they want and what they're looking for. People are not buying sedans. People are buying SUVs and crossovers. And Subaru has noticed the trend. Legacy sales are way, way down compared to the Outback. Same chassis, interior, etc. But the Legacy is just selling single digit percentile compared to the Outback. And there's no point in continuing putting resources and time into manufacturing a car that is not wanted and is not selling. So that's why the Legacy is coming to an end. Subaru says they will shift their efforts towards another SUV, another crossover, another model later on to replace the Legacy sedan. But for right now, the Legacy sedan is going to go away just to free up more production for Crosstrek, Forester, and Outback, etc. Just because there's higher demand for it. Subaru has become an SUV crossover company, and the sedans just aren't hitting. If you look at the WRX, that is the only sedan left in the lineup. But again, it's the end of the Legacy, which is really sad because, in my opinion, I think the Legacy is the car that really saved Subaru. Now, I don't mean save them from bankruptcy or some kind of hardship. I mean save them in the fact that the Legacy, the first generation Legacy, I think, is the car that catapulted them into the growth they have seen over the last 35 years to become the size of a car company they are today compared to where they were at the time. They were very small, very niche, and not in a lot of the country. They weren't selling cars anywhere like they are today, and most people didn't even know what a Subaru was. So the Gen 1 Legacy, I think, really turned things around for them just because of a couple of things. One was the fact that it was so much different in its styling than the predecessors and the other models available at the time. The Legacy looked sleeker. It was more comfortable. It was more tight. It handled better. It had less road noise. It was more refined. It wasn't as rough and rugged as the Subarus before it, while still keeping its all-wheel drive, its amazing handling, and its characteristics for, taming bad weather. The Legacy really was what people wanted. It was more mainstream. It was more like the competition. Now, I know that sounds stupid, that being more like everybody else made them more favorable, but I think in the case of the first generation Legacy, that was the truth. That's what really got them up and going. Another huge thing with that 1989 introduction of the Legacy was the fact that that was the introduction of the EJ series engine. The EJ debuted in the Legacy. Now, the EJ was miles ahead, powertrain-wise, over its predecessor, the EA series. The EJ was much better engineered. It was much better built. It made way more power and had a lot more fuel economy. And the EJ series engine shares a history just as long as the Legacy. The EJ, in my opinion, is probably a superior engine to the new F-Series engine. There's a lot of pros and cons to both, but I think at the end of the day, when you look at reliability and complexity and their faults they have, I think the EJ really is the better engine. But again, that Legacy, that first-gen Legacy, was a lot of firsts for Subarus. It was the more refined, more mainstream vehicle, and it was the more refined engine. The combination really catapulted the sales and growth of Subaru, much less its rally history. Colin McRae and the Subaru rally team, that first-generation Legacy, really took off and blew up lots of podiums, lots of attention, and put Subaru on the map not only in the world of consumer vehicles, but also in the rally world. So that legacy was monumental for Subaru in so many ways. The Subaru Legacy is also very special to me. I've owned several Legacies over the years. I actually count my first Subaru as a Legacy. Now, technically, my first Subaru was a 2004 Aspen White WRX, but I really count my 1994 Legacy L-Wagon, affectionately known as Patches, as my first Subaru. I picked the car up for, I think, $200 or $300 off of Craigslist that had been in a front-end collision. I bought it from the original purchaser. The car had 280,000 miles on it at the time, and the story goes that the original purchaser had the car, drove it for many, many years. I believe he had 3 or 4 children. All of them learned to drive the car. It was a 5-speed with an EJ22E. In its time acquiring those 280,000 miles prior to my purchasing it, the only issues it had were a dead power window motor on the driver's side, 1 alternator, 1 starter, and a clutch. Other than that, it was just general maintenance things like brakes, oil changes, fluid replacements, and timing belt services. Other than that, it had no issue. Those cars were phenomenal. I've got a soft spot in my heart for the second generation of the Legacy. I've always wanted a first generation Legacy, although they're so hard to find in decent condition now in the US. A lot of them have rotted away, been wrecked or destroyed, because they're a very old car at this point. Well, I say very old, but I feel very old, and I'm just about as old as the Legacy. I only predate it by 2 years. Now, my next Legacy was a 1998 Legacy GT sedan, and I thoroughly enjoyed and loved that car. Again, I picked it up for about $300 off of Craigslist, and it was the EJ25D, the dual overhead cam, naturally aspirated. Now, I went through and I put leather interior in it and wood grain on the dash, and I styled it up as a limited GT. No turbo on these at the time, unfortunately, but it was a 5-speed manual as well, same as Patches, my 94 wagon. And again, I love the car. It was a great chassis. It was a great size for a full-size sedan, but it was really a mid-size sedan. Great ride, great fuel economy, just a pleasure to own, and I really had no issues out of that car either. It was phenomenal, other than, head gasket issues with the EJ25D, but luckily the prior owner had dealt with that, so I didn't have any issues there. So, over the last 35 years of Legacy, we have had 7 generations. Gen 1, I absolutely love. 2 and 3, I adore. 4, I could leave. I don't really like Gen 4. 5 is okay. 6 were great. 7 is too new. I haven't really had any experience with the 7th generation. But I've shared 2 Legacy stories with you guys, 2 stories of my 2nd generation Legacies. I would love to hear your Subaru Legacy stories down in the comments below. Long or short, whatever you have to say about your experience with your Subaru Legacy, I'd love to hear it. Now, one great thing about the Subaru Legacy over the years were the commercials. There have been several that have stuck with me and I've loved, and I will try to share them with you, either with links in the description of the video or with some clips on the screen. I don't know how much I can show of these commercials without a copyright strike, so got to be careful there. My absolute favorite is the Legacy of Legacy. It only goes up to, I believe, the 6th or the 5th generation, but it is a great video, in my opinion, for the Subaru Legacy and the lineage. One of my favorite series of commercials from Legacy were the Japanese market only commercials starring, of all people, Bruce Willis. Now, that might sound weird, but, American celebrities are known for doing crazy Japanese commercials. Just like Tommy Lee Jones's Boss Coffee commercials, they're also really great and really memorable. But Bruce Willis had a lot of really great Legacy commercials. Some were very weird and super sappy. The acting is always crazy in them.
Think with the Legacy.
For any Legacy fans. So I'll try to leave links again down in the description for the Bruce Willis Japanese Legacy commercials and the Legacy of Legacy. Again, there's a lot of great commercials for the Subaru Legacy over the years. If you have a great, memorable Subaru Legacy commercial, please leave the links in the comments below. I'd love to watch them, and just share it with everybody for this celebration of the legacy of the Subaru Legacy. I don't know how much more I can say about the Legacy. I think we've said enough. The Legacy will live on with its great lineage and legacy. It's so funny to say legacy and legacy, but it really was a legendary car for Subaru and just in general. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you all in the next one.